Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing the full Virginia Giuffre deposition, and I'm going to do it in a slightly different way. So I'm still going to scroll the actual document itself, but what I'm going to be doing is actually just recording it live, reading it, recording it, and then uploading, just so that I can get it out that little bit quicker, hopefully. I don't know, it may go well, it may not, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I wanted to do this, so I did snippets from some documents that I found in my last video, and I just thought I've got to do the full deposition, so managed to find the actual document, albeit I did get sent around in circles a little bit on the internet with it. However, I believe I've got the correct one, and it's the full deposition. So yeah, I thought it would be really interesting just to see the different side. It's a lot shorter, you'll be pleased to hear. And yeah, let's just see what this one says. So as always, I will, if there's blank spaces, then I will say blank. Sometimes there is a lot of names in this document. I've had obviously a browse through. So yeah, apologies if I do mispronounce any names. That is obviously not my intention. Sometimes I may just give the initials. It really does depend. I'm hoping that reading it kind of out this way, it will give it a little bit more of a better flow, hopefully. So yeah, apologies if I do mispronounce or anything like that. Obviously not my intention. Okay, so Exhibit D. Giuffre versus Maxwell, deposition, Virginia Giuffre, 5th of the 3rd, 2016. Got the address of the court and the video. So page 3, pursuant to notice and the federal rules of civil procedure, the videotape deposition of Virginia Giuffre, called by defendant, was taken on Tuesday, May the 3rd, 2016, commencing at 9 a.m. at 150 East 10th Avenue, Denver, Colorado, before Kelly A. McAreath, certified shorthand reporter, registered professional reporter, certified real-time reporter, and notary public within Colorado. The examination is from Miss Menninger. Then we have the list of all of the exhibits, and then the video begins. So, proceedings. The videographer. We're on the record at 9 a.m. Today is May the 3rd, 2016. This begins the videotape deposition of Virginia Giuffre in the matter of Virginia L. Giuffre versus Ghislaine Maxwell. We're located at 150 East 10th Avenue in Denver, Colorado. Our court reporter is Kelly McAreath. The videographer is Nicholas F. Borgia, CLVS. Will counsel please introduce yourselves for the record? Mr. Edwards, sure. Brad Edwards and Sigrid McCauley on behalf of the plaintiff, Miss Giuffre. Miss Menninger. Laura Menninger and Jeffrey Pellica on behalf of the defendant, Ghislaine Maxwell. The videographer, and will our court reporter please swear in the deponent? Virginia Giuffre, being first duly sworn in the above cause, was examined and testified as follows. Mr. Edwards, just before we get started, I just wanted to make sure that we're clear, and I think that we are, that this deposition in total will be treated as confidential until such time as we are able to review and de-designate. Ms. Menninger, yes. Mr. Edwards, okay. Examination by Ms. Menninger. Good morning, Ms. Giuffre. Good morning, Laura. Can you please state your full name? Virginia Lee Giuffre. And where do you live right now, Miss Giuffre? Blank, blank. All right, and who lives with you there? My son, my other son, my daughter, my husband, and my in-laws. And when did you return to the US for this visit? I believe it was around Thursday, the 29th, I think. Okay, and who travelled with you? Myself. Yourself? Yes. Are you able to travel freely between the US and Australia? Yes. Are you married? Yes. To whom? Blank. All right, and did Mr. Giuffre travel with you back to the US? No. All right. Have you taken any medications in the last 24 hours? I have a cold, but I have taken non-drowsy cold tablets and some Dayquil. All right, nothing else? No. All right, and what is your current profession, Miss Giuffre? I'm a housewife. All right, and how long have you been a housewife? For the last 10 years, since I've had kids. All right, and what was your profession in 2014? A housewife. All right, any other profession? No. All right, you understand that you're under oath today? Yes. And you understand that if you don't understand a question, you need to let me know that, okay? And ask for clarification? Do you understand? Yes. You also understand I'm assuming that you have to say yes or no in answer to a question, or you have to make a verbal response and not just shake your head or something. Yes. So the court reporter can get it. You've been deposed before, correct? Yes. Do you understand what it means by being under oath? Yes. What does it mean to you? To tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. All right. And what does the word truth mean to you? To be honest. Is there more than one truth? Is there more than? No, there's no more than one truth. If you are confused by a question, you need to let me know so that I can clarify the question, okay? Okay. For example, if I ask you the question, were you sexually trafficked to foreign presidents, do you understand what that question means? Yes. What does it mean? Was I lent out for the purposes of sex to a foreign person, president? All right, and what is the answer to that question? Yes. And if I ask you, have you met any foreign presidents, do you understand what that question means? Yes. And what is the answer to that question? Yes. All right. And if I asked you which foreign presidents have you met, do you understand what that question means? Yes. What is the answer to that question? What is the name of the person? Yes. Who are the foreign presidents that you have met? I honestly can't remember his name at this time. I'm a very visual person, so all right. Can you describe him then? Yes, he's Spanish. Okay. Tall, dark hair. All right. Anything else? And he's got a foreign tongue accent. And what age approximately? Was I or was he? Was he? I'd say in his 40s. Okay. And where did you meet him? I believe it was New Mexico. New Mexico? Possibly New Mexico. I'm sorry. It's really hard to go back and remember lots of different events with lots of different people. Okay, and is that the only foreign president that you have met? I've met a lot of very high, powerful people, and I wasn't just introduced to them as who they were. It's only going back through photos in time to be able to realise who they are and what they are now. So it's hard for me to distinguish who I've actually met and when and where I've met them. So to your knowledge, you have only met one foreign president? To my knowledge, at this time, yes. And is there anything that might change your knowledge at a different time? If I were to see more photos of other people, I mean, I've been able to distinguish the majority of the people I've been lent out to, but who's to say there's not more? All right, if I were to ask you the question, how many times have you had sex with blank blank? Do you know what that question means? I believe so. All right, and what is the answer to that question? I believe I was with blank once. Okay, I would like to ask you about your prior sworn statement. You understand you're under oath today, correct? Yes. All right. You've previously made statements under oath, correct? Yes. And you've previously authorised pleadings to be filed on your behalf, correct? Yes. By various attorneys, right? Yes. All right, you have included in your sworn statement allegations about my client, Ghislaine Maxwell, correct? Yes. And did you review any of those prior sworn statements before appearing here today? Yes. And which ones did you review? I'd have to see which ones you're specifically talking about. There's quite a lot of statements I've made. Right, and which ones do you recall having reviewed before you attended this deposition today? I've reviewed my affidavit. I'm not a lawyer, so I really don't know legal terms to half of the, legal jargon of statements, which they are. If you showed me, I'd be able to tell you if I've seen it or not. Okay, so to your knowledge, can you identify any sworn statement you reviewed before attending the deposition today? Could I name what the statement is? Right, the actual piece of paper that has the title at the top. Right, no, I don't. Can you describe it in any other fashion? I don't understand, I'm sorry. That's all right, you have to tell me if you don't. Do you have any reason to believe that any of your previous sworn statements that you have made are not true? No. Mr. Edwards, I just object and ask that if we're going to ask the witness questions about any of her statements in whole or in part, that the witness be allowed to see the statement, review the statement, and then answer your questions. Ms. Millinger, you may answer the question. Can you re-ask the question? I'm sorry. Do you have any reason to believe that any of your prior sworn statements are untrue? I have no reason to believe that my prior statements are untrue. Has anyone told you to say something that was not true in connection with this case? No, ma'am. All right, I'd like to start with a lawsuit that you filed under the caption Jane Doe versus Jeffrey Epstein. Do you recall that lawsuit? I believe so. I'm going to show you an exhibit that we are marking as Defendant's Exhibit 1. Mr. Edwards, can I see that for a second? I'd just like to make an objection on the record for the misidentification of this document. While there was a lawsuit filed under the style of Jane Doe versus Jeffrey Epstein, Jane Doe was not Virginia Giuffre. And the lawsuit that's now being handed to this witness is Jane Doe 102 versus Jeffrey Epstein. Is that the document we're talking about? Ms. Menninger. Counsel, if you have an objection, you should state the basis for your objection in a non-leading, non-suggestive manner. If you have any other record to make, you can do so in a pleading filed with the court. Mr. Edwards, sure. My objection is you've misrepresented what you've handed the witness. I want to make sure that the witness is holding what you actually want her to be holding, as opposed to the lawsuit you said that you were going to hand her. That's it. Ms. Menninger. Counsel, I will ask the witnesses questions about this document. I did not ask you any questions about the document. Ms. Giuffre, could you please take a look at what we have marked as Defendant's Exhibit 1? Do you recognise that document, Ms. Giuffre? I believe so, yes. Yes, I do. And do you see that the counsel on the last page, I'm sorry, not the last page, but the third from the last page, are Mr. Josverberg and Ms. Ezel from Podhurst Orsec? Yes. Were those your lawyers? Yes, they were. And did you authorise them to file Jane Doe 102 versus Epstein on your behalf? Yes, I did. And is that this complaint that's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 1? I believe so. In that document, if I could ask you to turn to I'll turn to page 9 and paragraph 23. Would you like me to read it? No, did you find it? I can see paragraph 23. Okay, and do you see that there are allegations about a Ms. Maxwell contained in that complaint? Yes, I do. All right, and do you understand that to be Miss... Cut. Yes, I do. All right, and do you understand that to be Ghislaine Maxwell, my client? Yes. All right, and Miss Maxwell was not sued as part of this case, correct? Objection. Does that mean I can answer? Sure, you can answer. Ms. Millinger, right. If you understand the question, answer it. Yes, Miss Maxwell, sorry. Repeat the question. Was Ms. Maxwell sued in this? No, she wasn't. In the case that's represented by Defendant's Exhibit 1, was Ms. Maxwell sued in this? No, she wasn't. In the case that's represented by Defendant's Exhibit 1? No, she wasn't. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but no, she was not sued at this time, no. And why not? Objection, and ask the witness not answer that question because that would be privileged, attorney-client privileged, information that was between Ms. Giuffre and the Podhurst Orsec firm at that time. So I'm instructing you not to answer. All right. Ms. Giuffre, did you make a decision yourself whether or not to sue Ms. Maxwell as part of this lawsuit against Jane Doe 102 versus Jeffrey Epstein? I think I've been advised not to answer that question. This is a different question. Oh, okay. So your counsel can assert a privilege, but that question did not call for privileged information. Mr. Edwards, I'm asking about what you decided to do. Whether you decided to sue Ms. Maxwell or not at the time Jane Doe 102 versus Epstein was filed. Mr. Edwards, and I disagree, and I object to this invading the attorney-client privilege, and I'm instructing you not to answer. Can you answer that question without revealing any attorney-client communications, whether you made a decision to file a lawsuit or not? I'm not going to have to listen to my attorney and not answer the question. I'm going to have to listen to my attorney and not answer the question. All right, I would like to show you some documents that were filed in what we'll call the CVRA case, the Crime Victims' Rights Act case. Do you know what I mean by that reference? I am familiar with that. Okay, I'm going to start with one on or about December the 30th, 2014. We will mark it as Defendant's Exhibit 2. Exhibit 2 marked. Thank you. All right, Ms. Giuffre, do you recognise Defendant's Exhibit 2? Yes. And what do you understand it to be? I believe this is when I was hoping to join the CVRA case. All right, and do you know when this document was filed? And actually, just to be clear about halfway, there's actually a second document that was filed. So this is a composite exhibit. Let me be very clear. So after page 13, there's a second document that is styled Jane Doe, number 3, and Jane Doe, number 4. Corrected motion pursuant to Rule 21 for joinder in action. Do you see that? Did you say page 14? It is on the 14th page of this document. Do you see that? I do. And so this composite exhibit 2 has both a motion and a corrected motion. Do you see that? Yes. And were both of these pleadings authorised by you to be filed? Yes. In other words, you wanted to join the CVRA action in or about December the 30th, 2014, correct? I'm not aware of the exact dates. There's no dates on this, but I did try to join the motion, yes. All right, if you can look at the top line of the document. Yes. Does it say entered on FLSD? Oh, it does too. I'm sorry, yes. That's right. So does that refresh your memory as to about when you first sought to join the CVRA action? Yes. December the 30th, 2014, correct? Yes. And the corrected motion was filed a few days later, correct? Yes, correct. If I could turn to Defendant's Exhibit 3, which was January the 21st, Exhibit 3 marked, thank you. Do you recognise this document? I do, yes I do. What do you understand this document to be? It's a rough background of the years that I was abused by Ghislaine and Jeffrey. All right, and this is something I believe that you on page 15 signed, is that true? Just let me have a look. Sure. I think I'm actually missing page 15. Oh, here we go. Sorry, I'm looking at the numbers on the top right. I apologise. I believe there was some cover page or something that was excluded. Mr. Edwards, and just for the record, I'm going to object to the relevance of this document. I'm going to allow the witness to answer the question, but I want my objection on the record. Okay, simple objection, relevance. Are we talking about this page? Yes, the one with the black box, yes. Do you believe that to have contained your signature? Yes. All right, and you executed that on January the 19th, 2015. At the very top of the page, it says January 21st, 2015. The date it was filed, is there a date just above the signature block? Oh yes, sorry, yes, there is. And what date? What date was that? The 19th day of January 2015. Okay, and this document is something that you believe contains the truth, correct? To the best of my knowledge at the time, yes. All right, did something change between the time then and today? All right, did something change between the time then and today that makes you believe that it's not all accurate? Well, as you can see in line 4 on page 1, I wasn't aware of my dates. I was just doing the best to guesstimate when I actually met them. Since then, I've been able to find out that through my Mar-a-Lago records that it was actually the summer of 2000, not the summer of 1999. Oh, I'm sorry, are you back on page 1? On the first page? Okay, yes. And you're talking about line 4? Line 4. Paragraph 4 or line 4? Oh, sorry, number 4, the paragraph number 4. Okay, and what part of paragraph 4 do you now believe to be untrue? In approximate objection, you can answer. In approximately 1999, when I was 15 years old, I met Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay, I now know that it was 2000, that I was 16 years old when I met Ghislaine Maxwell. So when you sign this document under penalty of perjury stating that it was true, you no longer believe that to be true, correct? It was an honest mistake. We had no idea how to pinpoint without any kind of records or dates or anything like that. I was just going back chronologically through time, and that's the best time that I thought it was. And now I know the facts, so it's good to know. So you believe that a document you filed under oath is no longer true, correct? Objection. I wouldn't say that it wasn't true. I was just unaware of the times and the dates. Again, is there more than one truth, Miss Roberts? No, there's no more than one truth. All right, so a document in which you swore that you were 15 years old when you met Miss Ghislaine Maxwell is an untrue statement, correct? Objection. It's not that it's an untrue statement, it was a mistake. So it wasn't intentionally trying to say something that wasn't true. It was to my best knowledge that I thought it was 1999. And when I got my records from Mar-a-Lago, I was able to find out that it was 2000. And this was entered before I found out the actual dates that I did work at Mar-a-Lago. Okay, so a document that you filed under oath is now you believe to be untrue, correct? Objection. You may answer. Answer again. Again, I wouldn't say it's untrue. Untrue would mean that I would have lied, and I didn't lie. This was my best knowledge at the time, and I did my very best to try to pinpoint time periods going back such a long time ago. It wasn't until I found the facts that I worked at Mar-a-Lago in 2000 that I was able to figure that out. And approximately when did you learn those facts about the dates you worked at Mar-a-Lago? I would say it was mid-2015. Mid-2015 is the first time you became aware of the dates. I don't know the exact... If you could just let me finish, I'm sorry. That's all right. Approximately mid-2015 when you learned the true dates that you had worked at Mar-a-Lago. That's correct, sorry. And based on the fact that you learned the fact you had worked at Mar-a-Lago in 2000, you became aware in mid-2015. That you had met Ms. Maxwell in 2000, correct? That's objection. That's correct. All right, and you became aware in mid-2015 that you were not 15 years old when you met Ghislaine Maxwell, correct? Objection. That's correct. Okay, and who provided you those Mar-a-Lago records in approximately mid-2015? I'm going to object, and to the extent that this invades the attorney-client privilege, if it was your attorneys that you spoke to and learned this information or received this information from, then you're instructed not to answer. I cannot answer that question. Did you yourself look at records in the middle of 2015 regardless of who showed them to you? Objection. And to the extent that they were shown to you or shared by any of your lawyers, you're instructed not to answer the question. It invades the attorney-client privilege. Did you look at Mar-a-Lago records in the middle of 2015 yourself? Mr. Edwards, she's not answering the question. On what grounds is she not answering the question? I just told you it invades the attorney-client privilege. If she learned, I will instruct her, if she learned by some other way than her attorney is sharing the information with her, then she can answer the question. I'm asking you not to tell me whether your attorney showed you the record. I'm asking you not to tell me the source of the record. I'm asking you if you personally, in the middle of 2015, looked at Mar-a-Lago records. Same objection, same instruction. I'm going to show you an exhibit filed on, I believe, on or about February the 6th of 2015. Defendant's Exhibit 4 marked. Thank you. And drawing your attention to the heading line that says entered on the docket February the 6th, 2015. Do you see that? Yes. All right. And declaration of Jane Doe 3. Do you see that on the first page? Yes. And it's in the CVRA case, correct? Jane Doe 1 and Jane Doe 2 versus United States of America. Yes. All right. And do you recognise this document? Yes. And what do you understand this document to be? I believe it's more reason to why I should have been added to the CVRA case. Objection. Okay, and again, if you look at the last page of the document, paragraph 67. The last page, yes, the very last. 67, yes? All right, it says in paragraph 67, I declare under penalty of perjury that the foregoing is true and correct, right? Yes. And it was executed on or about the 5th day of February 2015, correct? It's a bit smudged, but it kind of looks like a 5. All right, and then there's a signature block that's redacted that says Jane Doe 3, correct? Correct. Do you believe that you signed this document and it was later covered up by that block? Yes. All right, and again, is there anything in this document that you believe today to not be true? Mr. Edwards, I just ask that you read through the entire document and answer the question. Have you seen this document before, Ms. Giuffre? I'm sure I have, but it's always good to refresh your memory, just looking over something. All right. Pause. Thank you for giving me time to read that over. Certainly. So, have you had a chance to read it now? Yes. All right, and what parts of this document sworn by you under penalty of perjury are not true? Again, the only thing that I can see is the mistake that I made. I first met Epstein when I was 15 years old. Okay, and that's in paragraph 5. That's in paragraph 5 on the first page. All right, and everything else you believe to be true? Yes. Okay, if I could now turn to what I'll mark as Defendant's Exhibit 5. Exhibit 5 marked. Thank you. I think I have one more. It's okay if you don't. I don't think I have all of them. All right, do you recognise Defendant's Exhibit 5? Yes. What is the title of that document? Declaration of Virginia Giuffre. And that's you, correct? Yes. And do you recognise which case this declaration was filed in? Yes, Bradley Edwards and Paul Cassell, Plaintiff versus blank. All right, and who do you understand Mr. Edwards and Mr. Cassell to be? Mr. Edwards is my lawyer sitting next to me. All right, and Mr. Cassell is another one of my lawyers. All right, and are they in a lawsuit against blank? Is that your understanding? It's your understanding. You don't have to look at your lawyer if you don't understand. You don't have... No, I just don't know if I'm allowed... That's all right. To say certain things about that. But yes, I believe they were in a lawsuit. Okay, and that's against blank, right? Correct. Objection? All right, Ms. Giuffre. Again, if you could turn to the last page of this document, and do you see a signature on that page? I do. Whose signature is that? That is mine. And approximately when did you sign that document? Executed this 20th day of November 2015. All right, so you signed that on November the 20th, 2015, correct? Correct. All right, and that was under penalty of perjury, correct? Correct. All right, if I could now turn to what we'll mark as Defendant's Exhibit 6. Exhibit 6 marked, thank you. Thanks. Do you recognise this document, Ms. Giuffre? I do. All right, what do you believe this document to be?